So next we have deductions under this legislation. Okay, so deductions are given under section 7 because it's also mentioned in the objectives, right? That there are some permitted deductions, what will be permitted and what will not be permitted. So section 7 of the act mentions with regard to these deductions which are permitted. So it allows employers to make deductions from wages. Yes, you can make deductions from wages, but such deductions should be made according to provisions of this act only. Whatever is permitted, based on that only deductions can be made.
Hello, can you hear me, madam? No.
Yeah, it's breaking, but I can hear you.
Okay. I think
Yeah,
issue.
it's clear now.
Yes, I could able to understand that section 4 and 5.
Yeah, it is clear now. All right. So employer should not make deductions as he likes. Whatever you want, you should not be doing it. But based on the legislation only, you should be doing the deductions. So what are the deductions? Following are not called as deduction, like stoppage of increment of an employee. If the employer feels that this person is not performing that good, so there is stoppage with regard to increment, that is not considered as deduction. Stoppage of promotion of an employee, that is not a deduction. Stoppage of incentive because of lack of performance of the employee. If there is some incentive provision, that is also not included. Demotion of employees not included. Suspension of employees. Basically, these 5 things are not included because it mostly depends on performance of the employee also, right? So what is deduction basically? It might be some sort of fines which are being imposed based on their conduct, or if they are damaging or destroying some, might be machines and other stuff, right? There might be some fines and all. Deductions for absence from duty. If someone is absent, like we have the provision, right? Loss of pay and other stuff. So that will be deduction. Deductions for damage to or loss of goods made by the employee due to his negligence. Some because of negligence. Okay, it's not like something just happened by accident. It is because of negligence. Deductions for house accommodation supplied by employer or by government or any housing board. If they are saying that from your salary, like we are paying 5,000 rupees less, but we are giving you accommodation, that is also will be included. Deductions for such amenities and services which are being supplied by the employer as the state government or any other officer. Deduction for recovery of advances connected with excess payment or advance payment of wages. Deduction for recovery of loans which are made from welfare labor fund. So these funds are also there, right, from where employees can basically take loans. So with regard to that, if some deductions are there. Deduction for recovery of loans granted for house building or other purposes. Deductions for income tax payable by employed person. Deductions, some like this TDS is there, right? Tax deducted at source. So those will be accordingly deducted from the salary itself, right? So those also will be there. Deductions by order of a court. If court has given some order with regard to something. Deductions with regard to payment of provident fund. Deductions for payment of cooperative societies approved by state government. Deductions for payment to a scheme of insurance maintained by India Post Office. Deductions made if any payment of any premium on his life insurance policy to life insurance corporation with acceptance of employee. Sometimes this like the organization may provide some insurances, right? In that case, that also will be included. Deductions made. I think there was one case also that we discussed someday regarding this agency we discussed, I guess, where LIC was there and one employee, this employer had taken this employer benefit, some insurance for the employees. And then employer was not basically paying the premium. Once one employee died, his like legal heirs found out that payments were not down, this policy lapsed. Then case was filed against LIC. And LIC said that we are not responsible because employer is like the agent for his employees, like that there was one case. So those also are coming under this only, right? That employer was deducting from the salary and had to give it for the premium, right? Those will also be included. Deduction made if any contribution made as fund to trade union with the acceptance of employee for like like trade unions purpose, also some deductions might be there. Those also will be included. Deduction for payment of insurance, deduction for recovery of losses sustained by railway administration on account of some fake currency and all. Deduction for recovery of loss sustained by railway administration because of failure of employees to collect fees or charges or fares or charges. Deductions made if any contribution to Prime Minister's National Relief Fund with the acceptance of employee. I think this was there during COVID time also, right? That for government employees, some 10% of their salary or 1 day's salary was given for PM care funds.
Correct.
Right? So those are also deductions. Deduction for contribution to any insurance scheme framed by central government for benefit of employees. If there is something which is, like applicable only, those also will be done. So there is this limitation with regard to deductions, that total like maximum deduction that you can do is like it should not exceed 50%. And with regard to cooperative society, 75%. So basically these 20 different types of deductions which we have, and apart from whatever is mentioned under the legislation, employers should not like on their own wish be deducting amount from the salaries.
Madam, these are the notified deductions, so for which there is no specific approval required to be taken or obtained, correct?
Like these are specified under the legislation only when it was introduced. After that, if some other things they want to do with regard to that by notification, they may mention that this is also like a thing that you can do. This also may be a permitted deduction, or maybe the this employer can also ask that we want to get this deduction, so they can also accordingly like give the proposal and get the approval. These are basically already
included. Employer need not to go for an approval if he is deducting any such any this 20 notified deductions, correct?
Yeah, these are permitted.
Okay.
So these are already permitted under the legislation, which can be done.